that won't pull it out, they can actually observe it. Now that's what I did when I looked at titanium. That's what struck my fancy when I looked at beryllium. So, what's about it? You can look in the dictionary, you can look in the encyclopedia, you can go on the World Wide Web, you can find information, and that information will only be as strong as your ability to interpret it. But I can find out about beryllium, even to its poisoning effects on human bodies of people who've been exposed to it. I can even find out more about titanium. I can see what beryllium did to the lungs, but I also can know that titanium can be used on a submarine. But one thing I cannot do is I don't know what your potential is. I can tap into the potential of titanium and beryllium by looking them up and finding out what other people have discovered in their uses, but there is no book that tells me what your potential is. You were made in the likeness and the image of God. There's no other person on this earth like you. There's no other person on this earth like you. You may have genes, etc., from your parents, but there's nobody on the earth like you, and you need to understand that the only way we can tap into your resources is that you release yourself to learn, to grow, and to be more than what you have just known yourself to be. That's why school is so important. It helps to get your resources to release the untapped resources. Helps you to discover who you are. It helps you to understand your potential for science, or for aeronautics, for satellites, for phone systems, for medical use. We can only tap into it when you allow us through your education. If you will not be educated, if you will not go beyond, we cannot tap into it. It's in your power to release who you are. So there's no book written on you. And there's no book written on you. I could not look up your name. Later, people write biographies and autobiographies to talk about the potential and the potential that came out, the kinetic energy that was used in helping you to become who you are. But at this moment, there is no book on you. And the only way we can tap into your resources is that you must allow us through education. My mother said to me when I wanted to, our schools just freshly desegregated, when I was a senior in high school. One of my classmates had gone over to Sarasota High School, and we thought we would get a better education. My mother said, Henry Lee, you will not be going to any other school. You'll be going to Booker. You're going to go to Booker, just like the rest of them go to Booker, right down the street. You'll walk to school. You won't be going anywhere else. Because my mother was telling me that the potential that was inside of me had to deal with how my mind will release myself to learn. And my mother said, you can release yourself just as well over there. And you'll find out who you are, because there are some people who can challenge you. And I thank my God today because I was able to see something that I had not seen. I was able to reach into, tap into my potential. I had resources inside of me that could be used. Some people are not thinkers. They're followers. You ever notice sometimes someone comes with an idea, everybody kind of follows with it. Somebody comes up with something else, everybody kind of follows it. But how many of you come up with an original thought? Something that you not copied from somebody near you. Something you not copied from television. Most of the responses that you have, you do those responses from what you saw in a television, on a movie, or you heard from friends about you. The responses you have. How has the expression "boo" become so well known? Because you like to copy. And if you copy there, you just may copy in school. And if you copy in school, you're not going to tap on your resources. You're going to tap on somebody else's and not discover who you are because you cheat. That's a boo for you. Bring yourself to the place that you are. Some people ask, how can I help? I need to bring those that I influence. So when a person can help even a function like this, where the potential of our young men is at stake, where now there are more women enrolled in colleges than men, where there are more women enrolled at Yale University than there are men. When you look and you see that there are 2 million people in prison, and with African Americans, 1 million of those are African Americans, 500,000 are Hispanic, and we're looking at a system where there are more people incarcerated than there are in college. We need to be at this function. So what would I do? I would need to tap into who I can bring to the meeting. Every parent would need to tap into who they could get to support their children. You would help to form networks so that your sons will have the support and be able to network to greater wealth, to greater knowledge, and to a better community. So each person, every elder that they call the names of, deacons and ministers, every person, every mother, every father would need to use your influence, because we know the rule of business. The rule of business in talking about what people talk about is 3-11 rule. And if people are happy about what you do, they tell 3 other people. If they're upset with you, they tell 11. And while we get so upset, there are people who won't bring it. Will bring 3 people to church, but when they get mad, they'll take 11 with them. Because that's the rule. Upset people because it comes out of their spirit. They affect you emotionally. And once they affect you emotionally, people don't usually think. They just ride their emotions. And someone has to stop and say, but you have potential. And your potential lies beyond just what you feel in your emotions. God had to tell Moses, when Moses felt that he had come the whole distance, he said, I'm 80 years old, and God says, and you still have untapped potential. Moses said, but I've done this, and I've done this, and I've done this, and I still can't talk. He didn't understand that he had the potential to use, let my people go forward, that have lasted in history for 5,000 years. Who has spoken so few words that everybody knows? Untapped potential. So you could bring 11, you could bring 11, and you could bring 11. But most times we don't tell that. We tell 3 because it feels good. And when it feels good, you feel good you told 3. But when you feel bad, you ruminate. Something comes out of your being, you ruminate. And you keep ruminating. You just talk about it again and again. I can't understand why they did that, and you tell another. Then you ruminate. I don't know why such and such. And it could be a lie. Because the emotions feel, but they don't discern. So they don't discern whether or not it's truth. They discern how it felt. So you can hear something, and it just felt bad that somebody did something, but the person never did that.